that's useful to the community.
All right. Well, it's 10 past. We are very excited to hear more from you, Alexander. So what do you say, Todd? Should we go ahead?
Yeah, let's do it. He's got a great talk lined up.
All right, take it away.
Go ahead, Alexander.
All right. So yeah, it's nice to be here. Hi, everyone. I'm Alex, and as before I dive a little deeper into my introduction shortly, as you can see on my slide, there's probably very much known templates to you, known meetings, right? And we all know that these try to basically make complexity seem very simple, and the templates and understanding of all these methods and meetings is, I would say, fairly easy to understand, right? But then you get into the meetings where you, for example, have to discuss about a roadmap, and then reality kicks in, right? So there's a lot of talking about problems only. There are people in a resistant state, and there are loads of misunderstanding, right, in the communication process. And this is just a few kind of problems that appear in the meetings that we have, or in the day-to-day interaction with everyone. And while these templates are really helpful for us as agile coaches, as product owners, or whatever role, I kind of sense that the very first value of the Agile Manifesto, individuals and interactions, seem to get a bit into the background. And the best templates will not help you if you don't know how to communicate effectively, how to deal with emotions, how to deal with resistance, etc., etc. And this is what I'm trying to provide to you in the next 25-30 minutes, tangible insights of how you can improve stakeholder and team collaboration with solution focus. What solution focus is and what it isn't, I will dive deeper into that soon. Just shortly about me, I'm Alex. I'm a product owner at 3TV at Hutchison 3 Austria. It's one of the biggest telecommunication companies in Austria, part of the Hutchison Group. And as a freelancer, I'm an agile sparring partner and leadership trainer. You can watch everything on my LinkedIn if you want to, but I want to keep the introduction short so I can provide value to you in the short time that we have. So just as a short example, right? A real example that happened to me. I'll read it to you. You can read it along. There was a situation in the software modernization project, more or less, where I was a product owner for a 4 million users application. So we had this user who said, "You guys are out of your mind for removing this feature. This is typical for a company to destroy the best features. Just leave the product as it is and stop your modernization. Everything was better before, and you keep making the product worse and worse." And these kind of things happened a lot of times, or happen to us a lot of times in meetings, maybe, right? People don't express themselves in a helpful way sometimes. And now just think for a few seconds, how would you actually react to this? If you want, you can share it a bit in the chat. I'll give you just a few seconds to think about it for yourself. And there are several ways where you can dive deeper into this conversation, right? And depending on your, attitudes that you have and assumptions about people, about the world, about your stakeholders, you might choose different pathways and end up having a completely different conversation. And in this particular case, there are actually just 4 words that are helpful here. And maybe some of you guessed, but it's actually everything was better before. So there seems to be some kind of happenings, or there seems to be a story where everything was better before, and now it's your choice where you want to enter the conversation. Will you say, "No, that's not true. Be careful what you say to me. We are a company already 50 years on the market and so on. We know what we do." Or will you do something that's more helpful to, the interaction and the conversation? So with this example, everything was better before, I would like to give you an introduction into solution focus and what it is. Generally, to talk about solution focus, we differentiate between solution orientation on the one hand and solution focus on the other hand. Solution orientation, we'll probably say everyone is solution oriented, right? It's like a process of thinking about like looking at the problem and finding a solution, right? But solution focus comes actually from coaching and has a lot of attitudes, principles, methods, tools. So just to keep everything easy here, here's a dialogic orientation quadrants from Hayes and Moon to kind of visualize what it is. So you see we have these 4 quadrants, and the bottom 2, troubled past and dreaded future, would be problem-focused language. So questions like, why did it happen? What went wrong? Who did it? Who could go? What could go wrong in the future? This would be problem-focused questions. And we all know that interactions and people per se are complex. And doing a problem analysis in a complex environment might be a bit, maybe not the most helpful way. And in solution focus, we focus much more on the resourceful past and the preferred future. What that means, we would ask questions. It's just sample questions. When did it work already? What was different? Or in the example that I gave, when was it better? What exactly was better? What was different before? So we're trying to find resources from the past that are helpful to basically get this positive spin in the conversation. And you have a lot of power actually to lead with those questions. Or what works well at the moment? Or how would you notice that it's working well in the future, right? So based on these questions, we can either go into the solution-focused space, or we can go into the problem-focused space. Your decision. And another perspective on this dialogic orientation quadrant would be like in the problem space, we would have away from language. And in the solution, in the preferred future quadrant, we would have towards to language. Now, the question also is, which one would you choose? And now let me show you 4, how do we call it? Language twists that you can use in your day-to-day life, business life, but also private life. It's up to you. And the first one is, we tend to ask the question why when we're trying to find out about, well, what happened. And especially in German-speaking countries, asking why would be actually would lead people into a justification mode. Also in English-speaking countries, but I tend to make the experience that it's a lot in German-speaking countries. And this probably comes from childhood, when your parents asked you, why did you not make up your room? And we justify ourselves why we didn't do it. And with why, we get people, or many people, into the problem space. Justification. If we ask what for, or if we ask what for, we find about objectives they're trying to achieve with their behavior. So asking what questions or what for leads us to the actual needs people are trying to fulfill. Asking why would be more of a justification. So like, just take example of a software modernization or a new software. If you would ask the people in lead, why do we need that software? Maybe they would say, well, because the market changes and we need to be up to date. If you ask, what do we need that software modernization for? Maybe it's to basically be able to real-time collaborate with people, to have faster access to data, or whatever the needs and objectives are they're trying to achieve with that software. Simple example, takes a lot of time to internalize. I needed around 2 years. But if you really want to get or make more steps in the solution focused space, then yeah, it's a hard job. The other one that I would like to share with you is the question, the not formulations. I don't want to eat apples. And I've worked with product owners and leaders before who kind of are in a user interview and then they stop there and they go and define solutions for the not formulated stuff. But only because a user doesn't like apples doesn't necessarily mean that we know what they want instead. So it's very important to ask the question, what do you want instead of apples? Or if you don't have stress anymore, or are not stressed anymore, what are you instead? And if you kind of listen a lot to conversations, you will realize that people are a lot talking in these not formulations. So try to find out, especially in stakeholder and team settings, what they want instead, and define steps towards that preferred future. And this one here, always never. Maybe if you have a partner, it's more tangible. You never do the dishes. A simple example. Kind of happens often, but this I like the only constant actually in life is change, and saying, okay, till now I haven't done the dishes would basically lead to how do you say, to the other person realizing that the situation isn't as bad as it is. So we basically imply by saying that it can be better in the future. Hence, we're more motivated to do change. And last but not least, another tangible language twist that I would like to share with you is this one here. I like your idea, but we need to make sure that we have the budget. I'm not sure about you, but usually when someone uses but towards me, I tend to forget what they said in the first part of the sentence. And like, if you really think that I got a good idea, maybe try to say, hey, I really like your idea, and we need to make sure with finance that we get the budget straight. Because automatically with this and, you seem to be more cooperative, and maybe you really mean an and not a but. So with this kind of language twist, very small one, you can really improve the conversation because people feel appreciated, and then you kind of find together solution for everything that comes after the and or the but. And of course, to be able to use this language twist, you really have to mean it. Like, you want to mean that you would like to check the resources and the budget with the finance department. One quote from Marshall B. Rosenberg, he said in his nonviolent communication trainings used to say, never to put your butt in the face of an angry person. I think each and one of you know these kind of conversations which end up in a conflict just because we use this word. And yeah, so far to solution focus. And now I would like to remind yourself of a situation where you kind of perceived resistance in a meeting, right? Because you wanted to introduce a new product or a new process, whatever it is. And probably some of you end up in, yeah, maybe in kind of conflicts, and you're afraid of that, can be, or you react in a way that is not very helpful. And I would like to share with you something that might sound cheesy at the beginning, and I'm sorry for that. But if you really want to work better towards resistance, my camera is blurred out a bit, then maybe this is helpful to you. When you kind of perceive resistance in a meeting, try to think about that resistance is a need in disguise. That person doesn't have a communication training, hasn't been at my talk here, and just doesn't know how to communicate better. That's the way it is. It happens. And if you look at resistance as a need in disguise, like it's just a need that is badly formulated, at least for me, it got me in a question asking mode, and I'm interested in finding out what the need is and integrate it in solutions that I develop together with the team. And just as a short example, how you can work towards that, here's a personal attack. You duck promised me that feature is probably not a very nice thing to say, or if you see that from some kind of team member. And now maybe you know this kind of this sentence, the duck sentence, of course, is kind of a trigger, and then you react in a specific way. You might feel attacked, you might, I don't know, get emotional, whatsoever. And now we have a great person here in Austria. His name is Viktor Frankl, and he says that between trigger and reaction, there's a room. And this room we can actually design how we would like it to be. So instead of thinking about, okay, you duck promised me that feature and I get angry, try to get this room in between and think about it just as a mental concept. And then you can decide how you want to react to this person. And even though it's not nice for the other one to tell you that, it can help you for more productive conversation, and maybe you will find out information that is helpful to the product, to the team, or for effective team collaboration. And yeah, I'm really very impressed by Viktor Frankl. You should definitely read his book. And yeah, just try to, because it's always like the question, yeah, this sounds very nice, but how do I kind of train it? And for me, I tried to find out how I did it, and I would like to share it with you as an invitation. And I did it by always consciously deciding to act and think differently in various situations. Like if I find myself into that kind of justification mode, or I feel attacked or whatever, I'm like, okay, between trigger and reaction, there's a room. Between trigger and reaction, there's a room. Between trigger and reaction, there's a room. And getting this concept and internalizing it helps me a lot to deal with, well, resistance or personal attacks. I'm not perfect. I'm not like 100% reacting very good. That's, I don't know, it doesn't work. But the more you try it, the more you train it, the better you will get at it. And another thing that that is can be useful is the concept of added brackets. I don't know, I defined it for myself. Maybe someone else already had it in mind. If you feel attacked, maybe think to yourself, okay, that person understood it that way, and what that person actually wants to say is, I understood that the feature will be released. So try to find for yourself kind of helpful reframings to react in a productive way. And another thing before we get to helpful assumptions, the most powerful question to deal with resistance that I've heard of until now is, if someone is in this resistance state, ask that person, what do you see what I don't see, or what we don't see? What do you want to warn me from? Because this is not only appreciative, it also gets the person to elaborate more on the need in disguise. And you will find out better how to deal with it. And there's another thing that I would like to share with you. You see this yellow car here. When I was a kid, we used to play at school some kind of silly game. Whenever we saw a yellow car, we would like give our friend a bump here into the arm. I don't know, don't ask me. Maybe it's just an Austrian thing. And the fun fact about it is that each time someone actually played or started the game, you kind of the next days started to see yellow cars everywhere. And well, it's brain science, we all know it. And one thing that I would like to share with you is helpful stakeholder assumptions. Because, you know, in my consulting activities and in my consulting times, I kind of, you know, hear things from people where they're like, just an example, Gen Z doesn't want to work. That's not a fact. It's just an assumption that you have. And try to find for yourself helpful assumptions for your collaboration. These two are mine. Each stakeholder and key user wants what's best for the product. And I'm confident that we will come up with a solution today. Because what happens is, for your brain, you set up like some kind of glasses that will actually allow you to see exactly signs of progress that lead to those assumptions. And again, internalizing these assumptions is the sum of conscious decisions to act and think differently in various situations. It takes a lot of effort. So don't like, give yourself time to, if you think it's useful, of course, to, well, develop those things. And last but not least, a short one more short thing: words are expensive. For example, I work out sometimes. If I ask you, what do you mean by sometimes? Please write it in the chat. Probably I will get a lot of different answers. And there's one more word that is very expensive here: workout. What for the one person, where the one person means says running is a workout, the other one has to go to the gym for it to be defined as a workout. So be careful at these words and ask helpful questions like, what kind of workout is that workout? What do you mean by sometimes? How would you notice that your workout was successful? And try to find out what the world behind those words is, because each and every one of us means something differently by it. So to sum it up, what direction do you invite people to think about? And think about, how do you actually ask questions? And what words are you using? And you see there's a little L in there because each word has a world behind it. What assumptions are helpful to you? And are you sure that you know your conversation partner's words? Or is it just an assumption? And with that being said, I'm happy to answer any question.
Thank you so much, Alexander. That was interesting. Some key takeaways is, you know, good things and tricks, just how to think about things, about, you know, saying and instead of but, which helps you in the right direction of thinking, and also what instead and what if and so on. There is a, you know, I'm a little bit fond of philosophy, and there is a quote from Wittgenstein, which I'm sure you're aware of, where basically I think it's something like, the meaning of a word is its use in a context. Not but you know, but it's all about how we think about the word and our experience, and how we understand the word that makes us communicate different. And I like the thing that you say, that don't assume, even if a person has an aggressive language, that they are mean. Maybe it's just, as you say, they've not been trained in how to talk. And so it's a very nice approach, I would say. Todd, do you have anything else that you want to add to that?
No, I mean, I think that's kind of that. I loved how you talked about that moment in between, kind of, you know, you get kind of triggered by something somebody says, and it's kind of a moment of truth, right? It's like, what do you do? Like, you do have that space there, if you really think about it, to actually compose yourself and respond in a way that's curious. You know, I love that. That was really good. You know, I was looking at we didn't get a whole lot of questions in the chat. but
good.
we did get a lot of comments. We got a lot of comments, and people were. So I don't know. Does anyone want to share any of the comments that they made in the chat? I mean, there was one where basically, yeah, Ellie, you said you want to know what it is about the change that is not so great, and why was it better than before? So I think you're talking to some questions you could ask to try to get curious about why somebody's reacting. I don't know if Ellie's still on, if she wants to say anything.
She's just unmuted. I think she's just waiting for a
Hi,
chance
guys.
opportunity.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm sorry, my camera is off. I'm Ellie. I'm just laying in bed with my son. He's 6 years old. I'm in Australia. I actually have a better question, I think, than trying to pull one out of my comment. Alexander, I have a question about when you said, I like your idea and we should go to finance to get approval.
Yeah.
That's great if you agree with them. What's a polite way of saying no?
A polite
How
way
could
of
you
saying
say,
no.
yes, basically, I really don't like your idea. It's not, not the way we're going. Not that as a Scrum Master, you should be, poo-hooing anyone's ideas because it's not your choice. But how could you, I guess, tactfully tell people that their baby's ugly?
So if there's really a no, right? If it's just not possible for whatever reasons, I would probably express a lot of gratitude into the idea thinking process. Like Carol Dweck talks about appreciating processes and not the outcome or output. So if the idea is just not, in your opinion, not too great, I would just kind of express gratitude that that person even had an idea. And that it's unfortunately not possible at the moment due to reason X, Y, Z. So giving like a clear context and reasoning also helps. And like if you would say, I like your idea, but no, it's not possible, then maybe the other person could perceive the first part of the sentence as that you didn't really mean it. But I think saying no often is important in combination with gratitude, with honest gratitude, not I just gratitude and say thank you because it's the polite thing to say.
Okay, so what I'm
Sylvie-
hearing
yeah,
is
sorry.
that if you are actually being genuine and you give context behind your no, there's no way you can accidentally slip the butt in either.
Sorry,
It's a
what was
good
the last one?
strategy. I'm saying that if you are being genuine and providing context behind the no, then there's no way that you can accidentally slip in the but, because that's the what thing that you want to avoid, right? So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for the question.
I have I'm not the only one in the room where I sit, so actually have another comment here.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Hi, I'm Michael.
Hi.
One strategy that I sometimes use, it's almost like a little game of never say no, or at least make it so that you're not saying no, you're making them say no. So if somebody comes up with an idea that's either unfeasible or impossible, I would say, yeah, we could do that. Here is what we need here is all the enablers that we need to be able to deliver that to you. And then you start listing all the things that are needed in order to actually deliver this thing. And if this thing is truly impossible and the person is reasonable, they will see that, oh, yeah, okay, the things that we need to do in order to actually deliver may be so unpalatable that they will say, oh yeah, I see why we can't do this, right?
So it's almost like rhetorical questions or
no, you just say that, okay, in order to do this, we need to do this and this and this. And if these things are And of course, you might think they are impossible, and they don't. That the cost of doing this is too much. But the general idea is that you can try it. Just say, yeah, what we need to do in order to fulfill your wishes, this is what we need to do, and then sort of hand the ball back to them.
Sometimes I think you just have to be very clear and just say no. When you say.
Yeah, but sometimes it depends where you are. The further you are towards where you are in a service position, the less no you want to say.
True.
But the more you are in, the more power you have as if you are, say, you are a monopoly provider, then you can just say no straight up.
Yeah,
although you're gonna make them displeased, more displeased that way.
Thanks for that, Michael, I think.
Yep.
Right, nice. I think for me it also depends, what do you really mean inside yourself? Like when you say something, like if you say we could do that, but we just need this and this and that, do you really mean we could do that, or are you kind of maybe sugarcoating your actual thing that you want to say?
I would actually mean it.
Yeah.
I would mean it. I would say that, we can deliver that.
Yeah.
But instead of, and as you said, avoid but and go for and these are the things that we need to do. If we can do this thing, then we can deliver to you. Is that okay to you?
Yeah, I think it makes sense to show like the frame that you're in, right? If you know all the different obstacles that could happen or steps that you need to do. So I think that's perfectly fine as well.
Sure. Yeah, you would have to know them, because otherwise you would have to tell them, I'll get back to you with that. We'll have to see what we need to do in order to deliver this, but we'll get back to you, or rather, and we'll get back to you on that.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for sharing. Anything else?
Did you say anything else, Todd? That any other comment that we should take up?
Jean-Pierre, is Jean-Pierre still on the breakout? He made a comment that sometimes equals never. I don't know if you want to expand on that comment. I'm trying to see if Jean-Pierre is still in here.
Hello. Yes, I'm still. Yes.
Yeah.
No, that was. I think it was in reaction to one of the important sentences of I work out sometimes.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, I recognize that comment. It's like, okay, we'll look into that. And we'll take that with us. Then it will never happen.
And it will never happen. Yeah, exactly that one. So, so I think that it's a great way to see what's behind the sentence. So sometimes it's like you just heard it and then you just, okay, it's fine, but you need to ask further and further to get deeper into the background, like the world's what you said.
I had
also
sorry.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to say I had one conference once where I asked also this question with I work out sometimes, and I said, okay, who of you means 3 or 4 times a week? Who means once a month? And then I said, who means once a year? And there was literally one person standing up, and that was really fun.
Definitely. So Bewent said he had a good comment, or she, I'm not sure, had a good comment about not assuming anything, especially when native language is, you never know if, they're not speaking in their native language. I don't know if you want to speak to that, Bewent.
Which one was that? Native language?
It's not good to assume anything, especially when at least one of the parties in the conversation are not talking in their native language.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a good point. Cultural differences, language differences. Yeah, that's fits exactly into these words are expensive thing. And I think Amani has a question as well. Can I get into that? Consider your
Amani?
stakeholders and sponsor is a leadership team. Any tips to help set the tone at the start of an engagement? Like the tone in terms of how we talk to each other?
Yeah, hi. Tone in terms of, yes, how everything really, language, relationship, the rapport. There are a lot of good tips here, but is there anything at the start to just set it?
Yeah, I got something for you. See, I elaborated on the word tone because I wasn't sure. Just realized that. But who was that? I think it's Nancy Klein. Her name is Nancy Klein, who says start your meetings with something true and positive. Because if you do that, you kind of remind yourself of positive things. You realize that you have strengths, and in case something negative comes the other way, then there's your strength in the room, and then here's the negative thing, and you react differently. So start with something true, a true and positive question. There's a lot on the internet about it, and this might help to shift the engagement already at the beginning of a meeting. In my personal opinion, especially if it's a leadership team, you would have to explain maybe the result of these true and positive questions, so they kind of just get those neuroscience arguments all the on the table, because facts. And try to maybe make a link to the meeting, right? So what is your best hope for this meeting, or what has worked well already the past 2 weeks in your leadership role? And then you kind of set the tone of the engagement, hopefully.
Absolutely.
At least that's what I do, and it's quite helpful.
We got about
thank you so
3
much,
minutes.
Alexander. I think we should if someone wants a coffee break or need to powder the nose or something, I think we should go back. But thank you very much, Alexander. It was, thank you for saying, all people saying and asking and relevant questions and having a good discussion. And now it's time to go back to the main room.